Good afternoon, college football fans. It's Sunday, and I ate a bunch of crow last night. It doesn't taste good. Got some of it stuck in my throat, I think. Make my tummy a little sick. But for some reason, I'm not as physically sick as I've always typically been after an Oregon loss, especially an Oregon loss where we just got smoked. We got smoked all around. I mean, all due respect and flowers to Indiana. They just came up to the West Coast. They didn't let the noise get to them, besides the 6 false starts and the one delay game, which they completely powered through. I mean, Oregon's crowd played, right? They showed up. They showed up to the game day set. They were there in full force, and then they showed up to the stadium. Am I like elated about the type of noise and the level of noise and the consistency of noise that they brought to the game? No. Oregon fans were really quiet in that fourth quarter, and I think it was a combination of waking up early for a game day and or just not getting good sleep from the night before because we were so excited, and maybe just a little bit of entitlement, thinking that Autzen Stadium is going to be loud just because it's Autzen Stadium, and that didn't happen. There need to be some cheerleaders in the stands, keeping that noise level up, keeping the energy up from the crowd, because energy makes all the difference in the game. And there were definitely a few plays here and there from Oregon that made a huge difference in how they ended up playing and just not ever getting into a flow. The main one that sticks out to me is the third down conversion that Jamari Johnson dropped when we were driving down the field. I think we were around our 30-35. It was a third down, and Dante threw this beautiful little pass. I mean, just rolled out to his left, and Jamari Johnson was wide open right there, was going to get to the first down or more, and Dante put it right on him, and he just dropped it. He bobbled it. He was looking ahead, thinking about, maybe scoring instead of just getting the first down, and he just dropped the ball, and that caused us to stall out and go for a field goal attempt, and we completely missed the field goal attempt. I mean, special teams from Oregon, besides the punt that our guy faked like he might carry it to try to convert the fourth down, and then ended up punting it because the special teams defense was superb from Indiana, and they had a spy back there basically saying that he was knowing that he was going to shut down our guy if he came at it. James Ferguson tried to get that first down with his wheels, and the dude just was like, nah, you ain't getting the first down on me, buddy. And Ferguson booted it over him. It wasn't the prettiest kick, but it got down at the 2-yard line, and that was as good of a punt as I could have hoped for. But Indiana just showed up. I mean, that 58-yard field goal is just fucking absurd. Like, what a stud your guys' field goal kicker is. And that's something that definitely needs to be highlighted. Like, that level of special teams play is just, I mean, you can't ask for more. Anything over a 50-yard field goal in college is remarkable, in my opinion, especially in an environment like Autzen Stadium. And your guy just had ice in his veins and freaking came in clutch. So props to him for sure. Props to special teams coach for knowing what Oregon's tendencies are when they see a look that might give them, the advantage to pick up a first down instead of just, punting it away. And they weren't having any of that. Indiana's team just balled out. I mean, I knew that they were good. I've watched them play. I also knew that they were underwhelming and or didn't perform up to their ability at Iowa in Kinnick Stadium. And I thought that might be something that would replicate itself in Autzen Stadium, and it didn't. I mean, they played up to their A game and a little bit beyond, in my opinion, just based off of the matchups that were going on. It's like, Oregon's line has looked really, really, really good and cohesive and dominant up through the first 5 games of this year, and you guys just shredded them. Your guys' ends put constant pressure on our tackles and just got around them. I mean, whether running through them or running around them, you guys just got to Dante. I mean, you guys got to Dante, 6 times? There were 6 sacks in that game, and we only had 1 sack in the first 5 games. I mean, it's really unbelievable as an Oregon fan who's followed them so closely in the Dan Lanning era and way, way before. I mean, I've been a hardcore Duck fan since the year 2000, and just seeing how we were completely underwhelming across the board and made mistake after mistake after mistake was just a testament to how good Indiana was against us. I mean, Indiana beat us. I hear a lot of guys, podcasters saying, you know, Oregon beat themselves. Yeah, Oregon beat themselves, but Indiana beat us more than we beat ourselves. You can't drop a third down conversion pass that's wide open and it's going to be a guaranteed first down, but we did that. You know, you can't not get the ball to your star offensive playmakers into Corian Moore and Kenyon Sadiq. In the first half, we didn't have any balls going to them. They didn't get any of the touches. They didn't get any of the looks. Will Stein was doing something that I'm not stoked about. In fact, I'm pretty frustrated about. It was eerily similar to the games against Washington in 2023 when we went to Washington, and in the first game we went to there during the regular season, not in the championship, we went away from our game plan and what was working so well for us earlier in the game, right at the end of the first half, where we got down to like the 5-yard line, and we were looking to score. We had 4 downs to go, and Will Stein decided to throw the ball 4 times. You know, called 4 passing plays instead of just giving the ball to Bucky, who was unstoppable at that point. He was literally, I mean, our O-line was getting great push. Bucky was getting just, I mean, first down after first down with every carry. And yet we didn't hand the ball off once to him. I'm like, you got to feed your beasts. And that was one of the dumbest, I think, playmaking adjustments that I had seen up until that point, and basically since too, under the Will Stein era of offensive coordinating for Oregon. So, and tons of people, I mean, nobody else I really saw that as a really retarded decision-making process like I did. I was talking to my close friends, you know, during that game at halftime. I was like, why the fuck didn't we just run the ball? Why didn't we just keep handing it to Bucky? We had 4 downs to get like 5 yards. We would have got it. And they were like, well, yeah, I mean, we should have just kicked the field goal, you know. We should have just kicked the field goal on 4. I'm like, fuck that, dude. We threw the ball 4 times, and nothing was an indicator that that was a good, you know, play choice to make. We should have just kept on running the ball. I don't know if they were worried about us fumbling the ball. I don't know. You know, maybe he thought that it was basically they were going to be playing the run, knowing that that's the best thing that we could have done and that they couldn't stop us. So he thought that the passing schemes were going to be wide open, but they weren't. They weren't wide open. And so when people were like, well, we should have kicked the field goal, I'm like, no, fuck that. We should have played to score a touchdown there, but we should have been calling and running much better plays. The ones that we had proven right up into getting to that 5-yard line that Washington couldn't stop. And we ended up losing that game by a field goal. So that's something I'm still, you know, sour and sick to my stomach about when I think about. And then in the Big 12 championship that year, Pac-12 championship that year, you know, we ran Bucky Irving the first like 5 drives of that game and went down 17-0. And Bucky didn't have more than 5 yards. I think he actually had negative yardage total in those first 5 drives. And I was just ripping my hair out on the first drive. On the very first drive of that championship game against Washington, I was wondering what in the fuck Will Stein was thinking. Like, what made him think that Bucky was going to have any type of push, or he was going to have any spark or the juice to be able to, you know, start us off and should even be the starting running back? Because the week before in the Civil War game against Oregon State, Bucky looked like utter trash, and it wasn't his fault. He was injured. He had been rolled up hardcore. I think it was in the USC game previously where he had a horrible ankle roll and looked like he might have been out for a long duration of time. And he was healthy enough to get back in, you know, in that game, which was mind blowing. I was like, how the fuck? I mean, the dude looked destroyed, and now he's back on the field, and it's part of that just adrenaline, you know, aspect of these young dudes that, like, you know, you're not really going to feel it until your adrenaline and the blood flow settles down, and then that ankle starts to swell up. And for whatever reason, they thought that Bucky was the guy to try to get a running game going with against Oregon State in that Civil War game, and he wasn't. He played exactly the same way he played the next week in the Pac-12 championship. He was not getting yards. He was not even coming close to, like, keeping us on schedule offensively. And we put Jordan James in, and Jordan James just tore it the fuck up. Jordan James was at the healthiest of his, like, Oregon career going into that Civil War game. And so as soon as we put him in, we started moving the chains with rapid efficiency. And it was like, yeah, dude, we have the guy to spell the guy. Like, this should be give it to the hot hand. And if you don't recognize what the hot hand is, who has the hot hand, what are you doing as an offensive coordinator? And, I was basically one of the only guys in all of the I guess, knowledge of Oregon ball community going like, why in the hell did Will Stein keep Bucky Irving in that game in the Pac-12 championship until we went down 17-0? Could he not see everything I could see from my couch at home? Could he not see that this guy's getting smashed at the line of scrimmage? He's getting no push at all. He's got absolutely no lateral movement. There's no indicator or signs that Bucky is just going to break out and play great. In fact, he looks completely hobbled. And then they decided to finally give Jordan James the start, and he moved the chains. He got 13 yards on his first carry in that game, and that's the only thing that got Oregon back into that game. And people were like, well, Oregon ended up losing that game. Yeah, we ended up losing that game. You're going to lose games when you go on 17-0 on the road, and you're not paying attention to what's actually going on the field. And later on, I heard Will Stein and Dan Lanning kind of mention how they had a game plan going into that game, the second game against Washington that year, and they just forced it. They were too stubborn. They wanted to manifest something because it was something that their intentions had told them that they should try to do, when they didn't pay attention to anything that was actually going on the field. They didn't pay attention to the chemistry and the energy of the team. And when they finally realized that they fucked up majorly and needed to put Jordan James in there to actually get the chains moving and give us, some offensive rhythm, it was too late. I mean, playing against Michael Penix that year and his wide receivers was just, they had the tools to beat Oregon. And I think Indiana is very reminiscent of that 23 Washington team that made it to the Natty. They don't have insane depth, but they have elite talent at almost all their positions, all the skill positions, their defensive line. Your guys' linebacker, Indiana's linebacker, Aiden Hall, I think. Sorry if I messed up his name, but I know his first name was Aiden. Was just a stud. Number 4 was out there just ball hawking it up. And he didn't get all the tackles, but he was there in space to stop our guys from getting extra yards and allow his other players to rally to the ball. And that's something Oregon usually does, and they just completely fucking fell flat on their face, did not do against Indiana yesterday. It was like poor tackling in space was one thing, right? Undisciplined lane gaps, just allowing your guys' offensive line to get all the push and then to dominate our DNs. Like, Oregon's interior defensive line played great yesterday, in my opinion. Bear Alexander and Amari Washington did what they were supposed to do. They stepped up to the moment. Uiagalelei, I love Mateo, and I would have never, ever, you couldn't have got me to bet, no matter what, that Uiagalelei wouldn't have a tackle in the game yesterday. That's unprecedented in every aspect of who he is, what he's done since being a true freshman starting for Oregon. It's just like the guy was non-existent. I don't know if he's sick. I don't know if he had allergies. I don't know if he has some emotional loss, maybe some girl issues. I don't know. And I wish Mateo all the best. I think he's a great dude. I think his dad's a badass. I think it's really disgusting how much everybody turned on his brother, DJ. When he went to Florida State, tried to put the woes of Florida State's horrible season last year on DJ Uiagalelei when they didn't pay attention to what he did at Oregon State the year before. And the reason why Florida State went out there and gave him as a transfer, because he played really great at Oregon State. And I think it was part of the expectations and the culture and everything around it that went into that. And Uiagalelei is just like another DJ Uiagalelei is another example of kind of what I see going on with Drew Aller right now at Penn State. And I'm wishing Drew the very best and quickest of recoveries. I'm praying that he has a prosperous, fruitful future and, is successful. I just want him to be happy and healthy. It's really impressive what Indiana did. There's nothing more to say beyond just giving everybody their flowers that they deserve. Cignetti, great game plan, had his guys focused and had them right in the right mindset and gave them the leadership mentality that they needed to go into Autzen and perform the way they did. Your guys' offensive coordinator was fabulous. I mean, the way that he had you guys, moving the chains, even with the 6 false starts and all of the things that would have definitely hindered any other team in Autzen from like being able to stay on schedule. You guys just totally overcame every single time. There was absolutely no quit in Indiana yesterday, and there was quit all over the Oregon sidelines and on the field yesterday. And it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't feel gutted, like I said, like I normally would by an Oregon loss, but I think that's only because I know that Oregon played so low below their standards yesterday that that's not who they are as a team. Now, if they continue to come out and play like they did yesterday in the future, then yeah, that might be who they become. But all of the performances that they put out going into this season and up into that game in their first 5 games is just like, yeah, I mean, Oregon, when they're playing well, when Dante's seeing the field, when he has time to throw the ball, they are a very dangerous team. And, you saw the 1 touchdown pass that Dante threw, and you're like, oh, that's exactly, all right, sweet, we're going to get clicking, and that's Oregon ball. Never got back into that rhythm, and that was in the first quarter. The pick 6 by Brandon Finney. You're like, oh, shit, Oregon just tied it up with a pick 6. Oregon's going to get going. Nope. Brandon Finney freaking balled out. But our linebackers, besides Bryce Betcher, Jerry Mixon wasn't anywhere to be seen yesterday. He missed some key open field tackles. He had the chance to make stops. He had a chance to shut down your yak, and you guys just ran right through him. And that is more impressive from an Indiana standpoint than it is unimpressive from an Oregon standpoint, because Mixon makes those tackles most of the time. He's a ball hawk. He knows ball, and he knows where to be, and he has that the free reign to kind of go where he thinks he needs to be and make the plays, and he just didn't make the plays. So it's like this perfect storm of super shitty play from Oregon across the board, and meets like this indomitable force in Indiana who just knew, look, if we come into Autzen, if we play our asses off, if we fight through the adversity, we're going to win that game. And I don't think that Oregon really thought that was possible. And I think that was probably one of the main things that set them up for failure yesterday, was like just thinking that the edge was on their side, a lot like Penn State thought when we went into the whiteout, except for Penn State didn't show in their previous games that they actually had the ability to perform like all of their experts were saying they were going to perform in that whiteout, where Oregon did. Oregon did actually have, consistent performances, and they had proven that they were able to, work together as a team and put out some serious freaking offensive numbers and some really good defensive numbers and special teams as well. And, Oregon's used to not making field goals that would definitely make a difference in a game. Oregon's used to losing games that we should, quote unquote, win, or we have all the capability to win if we just come out and execute in ways that we should and make adjustments at the appropriate times when we need to make those, which they usually always do as a coaching staff, but they didn't. And it was really frustrating to see as an Oregon fan. Obviously, every Oregon fan after that game was like, what in the fuck did I just watch? Like, how did we totally shit the bed in so many ways? And it's like, well, it's not only that we shit the bed, it's that Indiana just came in fired up and executed as well as I could have ever imagined them executing. And I had some really great discussions yesterday with people after the game, people that were obviously Indiana fans who wanted to hear me articulate basically that I was wrong. And I was happy to do it. First and foremost, I had to give congratulations to every single person, because it's like, you got to enjoy this win, dude. That is an epic win in Autzen Stadium. You broke the longest stadium home win streak in the nation. You took down a team that is young but has skill across the board and is predicted to be in the playoffs and hopefully make a long run this year. You showed that you're a dominant team in the Big Ten, and that's something that I love to see. I mean, I'm not one of those guys like an Ohio State fan or Michigan fan who's just like, all I care about is my team and everybody else, go F yourselves and don't even talk about me because you're not as good as us and blah, blah, blah. I'm not that type of dude whatsoever. I love ball. I've been watching ball for over 20 years, hardcore. I watch about 20 plus games a week, full games. Like if you don't know my setup, I have a DVR. I use a cardboard cutout that I made specially to put at the bottom of my television so I don't see any of the bottom ticker stuff, so I don't get updates on other games while I'm watching games. I fast forward through all the commercials and I just sit there and I absorb as much ball as I possibly can, Thursday nights, Friday nights, all Saturday. And then on Sunday, I watch pro games that have Oregon players in them. I'm not an NFL guy, but I do love seeing Oregon's athletes succeed at the pro level and, ball out, because Oregon's produced some of the best quarterbacks and other players in the NFL over the last 10 plus years, and especially over the last 5 years. And now we're just getting more and more guys into the NFL. So it's really cool to see, our young dudes go out there and succeed. And Indiana is going to be having a lot of guys make it to the NFL draft this year. I mean, this is like your guys' year. Like I said, they're so similar to that Michael Penix team with like the skill players. But I think your defense is way better than Washington's defense was that year. I think that you guys have the capability to make a super long run to the playoffs as long as you stay consistent and you stay healthy. Those are the key factors, right? Don't overlook a team and don't, get too hyped up on your own juice. Just stay realistic and stay healthy, and you guys are going to be dangerous as fuck the rest of the year. I was telling some of the guys that this one dude, Zeb, I can't remember the rest of it. It's like, G14587 or something like that. But Zeb was really, really fun to talk to before the game and then after the game. He was a very passionate fan for Indiana. He had some opinions that contradicted my opinions, and he threw out some energy that was good-hearted, but definitely combative. And I threw some right back at him because I'm that type of guy that I'll match your energy if we're conversing or if we're debating or arguing. But I don't engage with people who are just straight up lunatics or delusional, messes where they're just like, well, Indiana's going to win by 40. It's like, if you think Indiana's going to come into Austin and win by 40, you don't know ball. But Zeb was awesome. Zeb and, some of the other people that I had been talking to are the exact type of people that I love talking with and hearing from throughout the college football season. If you actually pay attention and you're passionate and you're loyal to your team, then please, engage with me. Follow me if you like my content, or if you just want to be able to talk to somebody and bounce your ideas and your thoughts and your beliefs off of them. And if I think you're completely off, I'll tell you you're completely off. If you're crazy, I'm not even going to respond to you. But if I find some merit to what you're saying and I think that you might just need a different perspective on things, or if you just need, or if I feel like there's some information that might actually inform your opinion the way it is and or backs it up or contradicts it or whatever, that's what I'm going to be doing. It's my style. So I appreciate everybody who, gave comments to me or interacted with me, even if, you were a little surly or salty about it and had a chip on your shoulder. You deserve to have a chip on your shoulder after the performance you guys put out. And I'm always going to admit when I'm wrong. I'm not always right, but I'm always going to admit when I'm wrong. So to Zeb and the rest, dude, you guys are awesome. Keep loving on your team. Keep supporting them. Keep cheering them. I think this is the best example for people like Penn State fans to really see you don't have to have this insane stud roster. You just got to have the right guys. You got to have the right coaches. You got to have the right culture. You got to support your team no matter what. Sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. You don't want to fake it till you're, into this insanely unrealistic place in your expectations for your program, because then you're going to be a toxic fan because you're never going to be understanding what's actually going on in your program, why you're getting the results that you are. You're just going to be thinking that they should be better and blah, 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 blah than what you're seeing on the field, like a lot of Penn State fans have been. And I did call that James Franklin firing out just because you could tell that culture and the backers, and nobody thought James Franklin was the right guy. Whether or not James Franklin was a guy who could help Penn State get to a dominant place or back to elite, they didn't have the culture behind him to see that to fruition, to manifest that for their team. And so it's like, all right, well, go get a new coach. Pay Franklin a fat bag for all the bullshit he's had to put up with from your toxic ass fans, and go get another Vanderbilt coach. and which just seems like they're going to do. I was telling the guys, watch out, Sig's going to get a fat bag, thrown at him by Penn State, just to try to lure him away from Indiana. But I immediately followed up with, I think he's wise enough to avoid that. But Indiana's going to be out there trying to hunt the best coaches that they can, and they're going to be bringing a ton of cash, and they think that that's how you win a natty, or that's how you win a Big Ten championship, is that you just go out and you buy the best coach, and then you continue to be entitled, wishful thinking fans. And there's going to be a honeymoon period with Penn State's new coach, where fans are just going to be like, well, he's new, and we need to have lower expectations because he's going to have to rebuild this program, because it is going to be a rebuild, especially with Aller being injured. And then also, the fans having a huge negative influence on the recruiting classes that you guys had lined up, the commits that you had for this year and next year, which are completely decommitting and finding other programs. Because first off, they're like, dude, these Penn State fans suck. They're toxic as hell. Any time that they basically get down or feel like, they're disappointed in the team for whatever reason, they start booing. And I watched that game yesterday, and I didn't hear nearly as many boos as I heard in the whiteout, but I heard boos, in their own stadium. And it's like, yeah, you guys are just keep doing the same thing. Maybe people like me, and I think I'm one of the only people that really ever talked about the toxicity at Penn State, until Zach Seiko started chiming in this last week. Oh yeah, maybe culture has like a part to do with Penn State's, issues right now. And maybe culture is something that we need to talk about and address. It's like, yeah, you dumbass, I've been talking about that for over 2 weeks. I mean, culture is huge. If you don't understand that culture is so essential to a program being, able to reach its true potential and dominate, then you don't know ball. And I'm going to keep on saying that, because people need to hear that. And shit, man, I'm here for posterity. I would come on and argue me, tell me I'm wrong. I'm going to have the proof in the long run to be like, this is why I was saying what I said. Dude, Indiana, do not pull a Penn State, please. Do not come in and act like, this was your Super Bowl, and now you're just going to, drop the ball, shit the bed, and not play your next opponents up to that ability. I want to see you guys dominate. I want to, match up with you guys in the Big Ten championship or in the playoffs. I don't know if Oregon's even going to make the Big Ten championship. It doesn't seem like the odds are there for them right now, the way that Ohio State's dominating. And I'm okay with that. Going undefeated last year did not help Oregon in any way, shape, or form. And obviously that's due to the seeding schedule, that the dynamic that they had set up, which was just retarded. I mean, Oregon got screwed so freaking hard by that seeding. And so they had to switch it, obviously. So we'll see. I think that Oregon, healthy, focused, prepared, well coached, is one of the most dangerous teams in the nation, if not the most dangerous team in the nation. And obviously the youth that they have on their team means that they're going to continue to be, really dangerous in the future, as long as they retain the guys that they need and keep bringing in the quality, players and people that they want to have in their program and in their culture. They're going to be, at a really high competitive level for the foreseeable future. But you guys, this seems like your season, and who knows if you're ever going to have all the pieces together and be able to do the same thing that you did in Autzen yesterday. That was such an amazing performance. It would be really hard to replicate that again. And Oregon took such a hard L in so many ways that they are going to have to learn a ton of lessons about what happened yesterday and why it happened, and try to correct that from ever happening again. I don't ever want to see Oregon play like that ever again. It's gross. But I have faith that they will, they'll make some adjustments to it, and hopefully they won't make a tradition of losing to you guys or other teams that are at your level, which there aren't a ton of other teams in the nation. Indiana is a top 3 team for sure. That Indiana team would, I just want to see you guys stay good, man, because, man, the Big Ten is dangerous now. If Oregon can get their shit together and, do what they need to do for the rest of the season, the playoffs are going to be nasty. SEC is going to get stomped again in the playoffs. And, that's a win-win-win. So no matter what happens, you guys enjoy this win, you Indiana fans and Indiana supporters. Have a great week. I'm going to be watching you guys the rest of the season to see if you guys continue to stay at the performance level that you are, and pray that you are. I'm going to pray that you guys stay healthy. And I pray that we meet again in the playoffs.